And sometimes we need somebody in our corner to remind us we are more than moms. I grew up watching my mom be an amazing mom, being a part of everything, but I never once saw her do something for herself. Just her. Not her as a wife, not her as a mom to three awesome kids. I just seen her be a mom and a wife. And because of I seen that, I knew I didn't want that path. And I love my mom. She does everything. To this day, she's still me with my son. She's an amazing support system. But who are you outside of that? Those two identities. Who are you outside of that?
Welcome to Single Parent Success Stories, a podcast designed to inspire single parents. Here you'll find resources from self care to finances to parenting and everything in between. Discover what it takes to thrive. Let the stories inspire you to what is possible. Before we start the next conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, The Gift Inside, a powerful guide for healing your body, mind, and soul. Reclaim your strengths and awaken your true potential. Whether you are navigating heartbreak or simply seeking deeper fulfillment, this book offers the tools to turn your struggles into triumphs. It is time to unlock the gift within you. Available now on Amazon, or you can check it out on my website www.irinashehovtsov.com. Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today we have a special guest, Crystal Jordan. She is an autism advocate, author, philanthropist, and publisher based in the US. She is passionate about creating impactful and empowering content that inspires acceptance, inclusion, and personal growth. With a heart for advocacy and storytelling, she shares meaningful stories that amplify the voices of underrepresented communities, especially within the autism space. From promoting autism awareness and acceptance to empowering women through publishing, entrepreneurship, and philanthropic initiative, her mission is to create spaces where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. Through her work, she aims to educate, uplift, and inspire others to embrace their unique journeys while fostering compassion, understanding, and positive change. Thank you, Crystal. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for Thank you for having me on your podcast. I love doing podcast interviews and I love how we're focusing your podcast focus on the success of parents and me being a mom and you focusing on moms is so powerful because that's my platform.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you.
You.
So please share with us, how did you become a single parent?
Oh my God, how did I become a single mom? In retrospect, me and my son's father did not work out. Um, we broke up and but before we broke up, I technically was already a single mom and technically ish, not fully, but as I saw the patterns, I started to prepare myself to be a single mom. But I've been a single mom for almost 7 years.
Oh,
He's
wow.
7, he'll be 8
Mhm.
um, next in February.
Yeah. What challenges did you face when you became a single mother?
My challenges I face being when I first became one, and still currently, is financial because I don't have the extra support from his dad financially to help back him for certain things. But God always make a way out of no way. Um, the next challenge I face as a single mom, raising a autistic child, is support. Going to the doctor appointments, going to therapies, scheduling all this stuff along. Sometimes overwhelming. That's not my story anymore, but it's overwhelming. And it's also stressful to go from ABA to speech to OT, all these different services and do it by yourself and be the only parent showing up on that aspect can be challenging. But I also know that as parents that are married and they still operate as a single parent because unfortunately the man or maybe their woman, the wife, or their partner don't step up when it's time to step up to go to these services to provide for our kids and prepare them to be independent.
You're so right. Even when I was still married, all the doctor stuff was on me.
And that's and to me,
And
you
everything else as well. Like if anything needed to be fixing around the house, because the speak was I'm working.
mm-hmm.
You figure it.
Oh, that and I meet
I
some
was like
moms like that.
handyman. I was the handyman in a relationship. I was the one to put furniture together, to hang any fixtures. I mean, I love that stuff, but sometimes you feel like some help would be appreciated.
And I don't I honestly think sometimes men don't understand or the other person don't understand. Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I'm doing way more than you. If we just switch roles for a month, you would be like, I appreciate you. And I also think sometimes couples should switch roles to see what the other parent go through without judging. And I do meet so many moms who are special needs moms who's I feel they operate as a single mom because they're doing all that stuff alone and the man is working and providing, which is amazing. But what about the mental capacity of that wife and all of the therapies that that kid probably has to go to for for that mom and that dad to set that kid up to be independent in the future?
Yeah, yes, so right, so true.
Yeah.
How did your career change as a result of becoming a single parent?
My career changed when my son was diagnosed with autism, but originally when he was diagnosed, I was just trying to figure it out. Just like any other parent, my story's a lot different from a lot of parents because I gave myself 2 days to grieve when I got the official diagnosis, and then I hit the ground running. So then when I did become an advocate, I at first I didn't feel comfortable calling myself an advocate. I dropped my first book just like you, and people started asking me to do like you, asked me to start doing interviews, and they was calling me advocate in the interviews, and I was just saying I'm a mom on a mission, trying to normalize autism awareness. Now my mission is bigger than that, but beyond that, and God told me I was an advocate, so then I started advocating, but that's what my single mom journey has been, me becoming an advocate and me educating parents and being a light in dark places for other parents who are going through what I go through, but I'm just their light.
Beautiful. Yeah. How old was your son when you got the diagnosis?
He was 2 years old.
Mm.
He was two. He was like, I think maybe 36 months, I believe. I know he wasn't 3 yet. So I know he was two. He got diagnosed October 2019, and it was on a Friday when he was diagnosed. And I'll never forget. It's so vivid. My best friend with me to get him diagnosed. My son's father was there. We got the official diagnosis. When we got the official diagnosis, I remember taking him to the fair, and I remember crying at the fair, and I was in my feelings because I didn't understand what autism was at this point. I didn't understand what journey I was about to be up against because I didn't grow up learning what special needs was, what autism was. So yeah, that's I found out when he was two to answer your question.
Yeah, yeah. When we were growing up, this diagnosis didn't exist. We were just maybe considered that we, I don't know, too hyperactive or we jump too much, but nobody ever said those words. In fact, I forgot her name. The famous dancer
No,
was, yeah. So famous
I,
dancer said, I call it, in the old days would have been in the now she would have been diagnosed as a somebody who has a autism, but or Asperger's syndrome. But back in the days, the psychologists like she went to see the doctor. Her mom brought her, And the doctor kind of, they stepped outside, and the girl, she couldn't sit still. She was dancing and doing all kinds of things. So in those days, they didn't call her, she has this. They kind of recommended for her to go into dance, and she became a greatest choreographer. Her name escapes me right now, but yeah, we weren't even familiar with those diagnoses before, and it's so kind of challenging because there is a lot of stigma about that. And like, how did this happen to me? And it feels like there is more and more of this happening nowadays versus how much it was before. And I don't know if it's because of the diet or vaccines or what is contributing to this now being so widespread.
I look at that differently. I hear that a lot. So this is my thing. Back then we didn't know what autism was. So of course the diagnosis back then was a lot lower. Now as of 2024, according to the CDC, is 1 out of 36 kids that are diagnosed with autism. Look at the bright side. Kids are now being diagnosed. Parents are now aware what autism is. Now we're working on the word acceptance, in my opinion, and inclusion. So when you look at the numbers going up, look at it in a positive light. Be like, oh my God, parents are now getting their kids diagnosed. Parents are now taking time to understand what autism is. Don't look at it as, oh my God, this is the fastest, rapidest growing disorder according to experts. No, parents are now have the tools. There are many people like me. They're getting educated and they're now getting their kids diagnosis. They're now making sure their kids are independent. I'm pretty sure everybody had a quiet uncle or a quiet auntie growing up. Maybe they was autistic and we didn't know it. So when I wrote my book in the beginning 4 years ago, it was 1 out of 54 kids diagnosed with autism. Now it's 1 out of 36. But before that, a couple years ago, well, maybe a decade ago, it was 1 out of 166 kids diagnosed with autism. That's because, again, we didn't know what autism was, we didn't know what it looked like. It don't have a certain look, but we still didn't understand the signs and symptoms as we do today.
What do you think is the most important trait to instill in a child?
Patience and understanding.
Mhm. Can you give us an example of how you would instill patience?
So I'm gonna use my son.
Okay.
So he has 3 tablets. When one tablet die, he gets another one. So what I do, I let it die, and then we take it from him, and he'd be a meltdown. And then I'd be like, don't get a tablet back. He has to learn to be patient. So I use his preferred item, which is the tablet, to show him he has to work on being patient. So that's how I instill it. Understanding, I'm trying to make him understand that you have to be patient to let this charge to get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's my answer.
Okay. What kind of advice would you give to single parents that are starting on the journey of single parenting?
What advice would I give to a single parent starting the journey as a single parent? And I'm going to add to it who has a kid that is on a spectrum of special needs.
Mhm.
My advice to you is just breathe. Remember to breathe through this whole process. Remember to be patient with yourself. We're not perfect. It's gonna be days where we think we could have did something more, but we in this alone. Unless you have a village. I have a village, but beyond the village, when you get to them services and you feel overwhelmed, it's okay to not be okay. And like I said in the beginning, remember to just breathe and get organized. Get a calendar, app, schedule everything, become organized, and figure it out. And also do things as a single parent to fill your cup. My thing I like to do is go running, or I like to write. So find something that can fill your cup for you can continue to pour into your child because you are more than a mom. That's my other part of my platform is telling moms they are more than a mom. I was Crystal before I was Zachariah mom, and I will never want to lose sight of that.
You're so right. That's what I hope to share as well, because in my journey, I had a, I guess, I don't know if you call it midlife crisis or whatnot. I was someone else's mom, someone else's spouse, but who I was, I no longer knew. And you're so right. We are more than just this kind of title or this mask that we put on ourselves. We are so much more than that. And we do need to fill our cup first. We do need to charge our own batteries before we can be anything for anybody else. Because if you're not happy, your kid is not happy, and people around you get all that stuff from
I
you.
agree, and I meet so many moms who don't know they don't know who their identity is outside their kid, and for me that's sad, and that shows so much. Like you don't remember who you were before you had a kid. Now you should be more every year and every day you grow. So where you were before you had a kid, you can't go back to that person. Now you should elevate and go higher than that person. But my thing is, who were you before this kid was brought into your life, or kids, or before you was married? And I tell my good friends this all the time. One of my friends said to me yesterday, she said, ever since you told me I was more than a mom, and who am I outside mom, I've been trying to figure it out. I didn't realize I was lost until you said it. I said, yeah, your whole identity evolves around your kid. I said, you don't know who you are anymore? You don't remember that fun person you were? Now, am I talking about that person you was before, like drinking all the time? Not that part. But do you remember the fire you had, the business you wanted to create? No, I remember. And sometimes we need somebody in our corner to remind us we are more than moms. I grew up watching my mom be an amazing mom, being a part of everything, but I never once saw her do something for herself. Just her. Not her as a wife, not her as a mom to three awesome kids. I just seen her be a mom and a wife. And because of I seen that, I knew I didn't want that path. And I love my mom. She does everything. To this day, she's still me with my son. She's an amazing support system. But who are you outside of that? Those two identities. Who are you outside of that?
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. We're more than just one. We have so many facets of our lives and so many things we could discover. Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
What what are how you call it? What helped you kind of on your journey? Did you have support system? Did you had a coach? Did you read any book that helped you kind of overcome the challenges that you faced and on your journey as being single mom and with a child of an autism?
Um, to answer your question, I never read a book.
Okay.
Never once. To this day, I have still yet to read a book about being a mom, being a single mom and raising an autistic child. I'm actually gonna create that book. I'm in the process of it, but I have not read a book about that. I read more books from autistic people talking about how they grew up, but I haven't read a book about the question you just asked me. My village is my parents. My village is my mom and dad. Outside of my mom and dad, I don't have a village. That is my village. My mom and dad helps with my son a lot. They support him. They help him grow. They cheer him on. Like when he does certain things, like he just started taking himself to the bathroom, like to do number two, not number one, but number two. That's a big milestone. We celebrate that. And what was your last part of that question?
No, I wanted to know who supported you on your journey.
My
Some
parents.
people read books, other people have families, other people go, they turn into church, they turn to God. So different.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
of course I turn to God. God is the
curious, what was your journey? What helped you along the way when you were in that deep dark? in the darkness, what kept you going, and what was that light that kind of pulled you out from where you were to where you are now?
Oh, God. God. When I was in my depression, God. Oh, and a therapist. I had a therapist
Okay.
that I could talk to and vent to, but God is the reason why I'm here. God is the reason why I became an advocate. If you would have told me 7 years ago I'll be an autism advocate and I'll be making an impact in people's lives and I'm a role model, and again, I'm impacting people's lives and impacting the school systems, impacting my son's lives the way that I impact it, I wouldn't have told you that. My favorite song right now, "The Devil is a Liar." Yeah, yeah. I'm like, you're a liar. No, I don't see that. I'm just gonna be doing I'm a fashion designer by trade. I would just be doing my fashion line and you know, but God had a bigger plan and bigger purpose for me. And with that plan and purpose, that's why you see me today.
Awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
What are some practical steps communities and families can take to support inclusion for neurodiverse individuals?
A practical step is if you have a job or your husband have a job, ask them will they hire autistic people. That's step one. If they say yes and they ask about training, Google autistic training in your area where they can know how to equip and work with special needs kids, or as I say, my platform, autistic kids. Because my son is nonverbal, and I'm hoping in the future he can have a job where he can come in and work just like everybody else and make an income, and his disability would not be, shamed. Another practical step is in your area and talk to small businesses, see how they can have sensory days. I just found out recently that my Walmart have sensory days in the mornings. It's certain
What,
days that have sensory days when the lights are low, music's low. Like I was like, what? If
what
we have
is, oh, you said a century or sensory days? What did you say?
sensory,
Ah,
yep.
sensory. Okay.
But it's making their store inclusive for autistic people to come in and shop in the morning times. So if every business can include ways they can make inclusion within their business for our community, that is a practical step as well. Or you hire somebody like me and I come in and I tell you what you need to do to make your store more inclusive or your business more inclusive. This is what you do when you're hiring autistic people, blah, blah, blah. That's when you come in and hire me. Those are two practical steps. And also build your community. Like reach out to people, go on these Facebook groups and create your friend groups. And y'all lean on each other when y'all need to. Well, and I'm also another practical step coming 2025. Um, I am launching a program, a system for moms of autistic individuals and special need kids and adults. That will be launching in April of 2025. I'm super excited to launch it. And another practical step is just follow me. Why I say that because you can reach out, you can vent if you need. It's okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Those are powerful techniques and tools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
It is something I do want to share, you guys. So when you're going into your kid's IEP, I want you guys to feel confident in your kid's IEP. What is an IEP? If you're just listening, IEP is an individualized educational plan. If you listen in the UK, it's called ILP, and that's an individualized learning plan. And I want you guys to learn your parent rights. And I want you guys to study what an IEP is. Let's make sure all your kids' IEP meetings, they have SMART goals. And that is a goal technique for your IEP. It is S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for attainable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound. If your goals are not SMART, which I just broke down a definition of it, then I want you to go back to the board and ask for the data. And then the next thing I want to bring up, dropping April 2nd, 2025, I am launching a quarterly autism awareness focus magazine. This magazine is going to be powerful because it's not going to be another magazine like mine. I know there's other autism awareness magazines out there, but mine is not focusing on awareness. It's focusing on inclusion and acceptance. And I'm also going to feature individuals like myself because when you look at another autism acceptance, awareness magazine, the covers are boring. Like, why do I want to pick this up? Like, I'm going to make you want to pick up the magazine. Like, I need that. And there's going to be tips in there, tools in there, advice in there from doctors, lawyers. This magazine is going to shape the autism community, and I'm going to shake it up 2025.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to drop the name because I got to trademark it.
Yeah.
But just know that this magazine is going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. And you are going to be empowered to advocate for your family member or loved one.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What was one thing you've done that had the biggest impact in your life so far?
It's my impact for my personal life or impact for somebody else's life.
In general, it was kind of small in the moment in the past, but looking back, if you look at it now, you'd see that this little thing made something like a big change in your life, whether it was mentally, emotionally, or in any other way.
The smallest thing that made the biggest impact in my life would be my son. And then after that, the biggest impact is me writing just like you. I wrote it just as a hobby, not knowing that it would be impactful to others. It would be used as a resource. So the smallest thing I did is write a book during COVID out of boredom. And now, 4 years later, 5 years later, I am talking about still this book and how impactful it is to other people such as yourself. So that was the smallest thing I did that turned into the biggest impact that changed my life forever.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it takes courage to write. We go through imposter syndrome and all that. Like, who would want to read this stuff? I didn't go to school for this. Who am I to write?
Right. And I agree with that.
Overcoming that. And yeah, it's beautiful that you've done that for yourself. It's incredible. I think it was healing for you, and you were also impacted other people's lives by sharing your story. You gave them a reason to live, to believe, and bring hope to life. Because when we are in the darkest of moments, we think life is over. We don't see any way out. We don't see that there is anything different. We just see right here, right now, and we think it's gonna last forever. But after every rainstorm, a rainbow comes. There is always kind of, you can only see the light once you've experienced the darkness. Otherwise, you wouldn't know the difference. So thank you for bringing that light. Thank you for sharing your message, and the work that you're doing is beautiful. Bringing advocacy and empowering people all across the world with the work that you do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If people would like to connect and learn more about you, where would they go?
So you want to connect with me, you can go to zachariaworld.com. If you want to order bulk books, I have so many books, you guys, about autism awareness, acceptance, inclusion. You go to zachariaworld.com and you just go to the bulk orders and you can do that. You want to follow me on social media, you go to I am Crystal Jordan on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. It's I am Crystal Jordan. Then, if you want to email me to collab, work with me, interview me, whatever you want to do, you can email me at crystaljordantheadvocate@gmail.com. And last but not least, if you want to be featured in my new Autism Focus magazine coming out April 2nd, you send an email and your subject line put feature me, and we go from there. And that's everything you need to know. If you need more, just email me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll include everything in episode notes. It's been a pleasure to having you. Thank you for coming and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me on your amazing platform.